What's up? Good morning, everybody. Let me know if you can hear me and see my screens. Little potato by C-Ray. I can maybe see about getting a better C-Ray picture up on there. Good morning, Adam, Anthony, Little Potato, Laksh. Good morning, Daniel. Good morning. What's up? What's up? Good morning, Chi. Welcome in. Welcome in. Real FX, welcome. How's everybody doing this morning? Good morning. Ray, Isaiah, Jacob. Good morning, guys. Start diving into the analysis here in just a moment. Doing good, doing good. Awesome. Pretty choppy inside day yesterday. Stayed pretty much in that same consolidation range overnight. So, Sachin, good morning. Welcome in. So not too much craziness to go over. There's some higher impact news later this week, or potentially. We got the Jackson Hole thing where the Fed members get together and Jerome Powell speaking on Friday. So that's a whole thing, Thursday and Friday. I think we also have services PMI on Thursday. That's a big one. But FOMC meeting minutes on Wednesday. But yesterday and today look pretty light on the news side, and then it kind of heats up, I think, tomorrow through the rest of the week. So need to watch out for that, especially Friday. Start out on the daily time frame here today. So we can see sellers have kind of been in control since the 15th. Since we pushed that last all-time high, we've kind of just been in this range. I'm kind of viewing the current structure as a consolidation range between like I wouldn't say the all-time highs, but I guess we could say 1-2 times we double topped there near the all-time highs. But these two areas, between these two areas, I'm kind of neutral on the market, just kind of viewing this as a little bit of a consolidation range. And recently, the last couple of days, it seems like sellers have kind of had more control. But that being said, I mean, just zoom out. We are very much in bullish territory, all-time highs after all-time highs after all-time highs. So let's not get too excited here for bears. We had a little bit of pullback and we're in consolidation. So cautious as always on the short side. Yesterday, I traded shorts 3 times, got stopped out near break even all 3 times. I was up 5 points, came back break even, then I was up 8 points, came back break even, then I was up 11, 12 points, came back break even. I think the whole daily range yesterday was like 18 points or something. So I was in shorts from around 69.70, which is kind of a key level going into today. I saw a lot of absorption, significant orders hitting around there between 69 and 71 on ES, 64, 69, 71. And I was targeting a breakdown of this consolidation range under 64.52. I have a key level sitting around 64.31. And I was looking to target that on a breakdown. Maybe it'll happen today, maybe it'll happen later this week, or maybe it won't happen at all. I don't know. We're going to wait and see how it develops. But Zooming down into the 4-hour time frame, you can see how this range has just gotten tighter and tighter. And the first levels that I'm watching this morning is just this area around 64.53, prior day low. I previously had another key level there from the order flow, I think around 52. I just got rid of that and marked it as this prior day low here. So I'm pretty much watching this range between 64.70 and 64.53. And then below that, if we are able to break down, I'm watching the 64.31 level. And above that, I'm watching kind of this range up here. I marked this zone, and then I'll also mark this 64.90 is a key level that I'm watching, which is kind of, I'm viewing that as kind of the upper portion of the balance range. I'm just going to call it a key level of resistance. And you can see how we just topped, even just looking at the 4-hour chart. So we've, darn it. So even just looking at the 4-hour chart, let me zoom in here a little bit. You can see how much we resisted that. We did poke over it into new all-time highs overnight and then just quickly and aggressively rejected back under there. So you can see pretty much all the wicks up there, that whole area. So if I had to call one specific level, it's around 64.90 there, the middle of that range. But you can see all the wicks every time we've come up over that and rejected. And then overnight, we poked over it one time, rejected strongly last week on Friday, back under it. And now we're kind of doing the same thing we were doing over here, is resisting this area around yesterday's highs. There's a lot of selling overnight. Drop down. And even on the hourly time frame, yesterday was a mess. We did go and take out the highs. Wow, look at that. How annoying is that? Look at all these wicks. I'm kind of seeing this for the first time on this chart. We spent all day, and then as soon as the market closed and reopened, we swept out the highs and then came down and took out the lows. So perfect, like balance range opportunities, high of day fake out, targeting the low of day, worked out perfectly overnight. So anybody that trades the Asia session, that was perfect setup for a high day sweep into these sellers, rejected back down. And now here we are, regular trading hours coming into 9:30 almost, and we're just sitting around right in the middle of the range. Kind of stinks a little bit that we already kind of swept out these highs and swept out these lows, because that would have been my primary setup looking for today. I'm still going to watch that. If we come up here and sweep over these 70s, see if we reject back down. If we come down to these lows, as long as we hold above 53 and below 70, I'll be first looking for fake outs and just target like quick scalp back into the middle of the range. Yesterday, like I said, I was up like 5 points, then 8 points, then 11, 12 points, shorting this level into the lows. And I did not scale out. I did not close it because I was really just the amount of absorption and selling I saw up here. Every time we dropped down here, I was like, all right, this is it. We're going to break down. Did not break down. I was positioned well for it. It could have been a huge day if it happened yesterday. It did not, but that's all good. I took the break even because my target did not hit. Get rid of that oval now. So here we are today, still in the middle of that range. So pretty simple game plan on a balance range like this. I'm first looking for fake outs above it. If I see good absorption signs and strong selling signs, then I'll take it short and just target back towards the middle of the range or the low of the range. If we come down here and test it again, and I see absorption and strong buying, then I'll look to take it long, target the middle of the range, the upper end of the range. But I will say I don't quite love it as much looking at this hourly chart, seeing how we already, the setup has already played out, right? We already, in the overnight, we already swept out these regular trading hours highs. We already swept out these regular trading hours lows and low of day pre-market, and now back in the middle. So it can still play again. It can still work again, but I'm a little more cautious with that now because it's already kind of happened. We already kind of swept the liquidity, and the trade setup has already kind of played out. But I will watch it and we'll see if it works out again. If we do break out to the upside and buying is very strong, I will look for kind of a break and retest setup targeting probably around 64.90s or just kind of this prior swing high here around 84.85. If we break down strongly, ideally, I would like to get in before a breakdown occurs. I would like to see some things. If I see that selling is very strong, I would like to find it a good entry speculating that we will break down and not chase it. I really hate chasing breakdowns. There's typically a lot of sharp, aggressive retracements, and that either stops me out break even or I take a small loss. I like to be positioned when I see strong signs of a breakdown. I like to be positioned for it and scale out as the aggressive breakdown occurs. Just thinking about over the last year and a half, how many V-shaped bounces that we've seen. I really don't like shorting for continuation to the downside after we've already kind of broken down. Yeah, if I am watching that first, if we sweep out these 64.53s and recapture back in it with strong buying, Blair, that's exactly what I'm watching for longs. However, if I see kind of like I saw yesterday, this really strong for the last kind of two sessions, Friday and Monday, I saw just consistently pops getting sold into and large absorption of buyers in a way that I haven't seen in a while. So somebody has been on a mission to sell the market with pretty large size. I've seen that on Friday and Monday now. So we'll see if that continues today or if that selling pressure kind of alleviates and bulls are able to recapture. But basically Friday and Monday, it was kind of like large selling and large absorption on every pop, but it just didn't completely follow through and the selling kind of dwindled at the lows. And then there was just a continuous steady trickle of buying. So it's kind of like trying to dam a stream, and you do, and then it just builds up and washes out, builds up and washes out. So every time the selling comes in, it's kind of faded at the lows, and that buying has just been a continuous steady trickle, preventing kind of a real solid drop. So we'll see if it happens today or this week. I would like to try to be positioned for it. If I see that absorption, I would like to not chase shorts to the downside. And like I said, if we do pop and I see good signs of that absorption again, then I may short it just with a scalping setup and just target a middle of the range or the low of the range. And then maybe have runners ready, positioned to go for a solid breakdown if that happens. But again, first I'm watching for fake outs to recapture. That is typically what I look for on balance ranges, and that happens usually multiple times before we get an actual true breakout or breakdown. Victor, good morning. Andrew, good morning. Lucky Hudak, welcome in. Good morning. Blair, good morning. Israel, good morning. Welcome in, guys. David, good morning. Welcome in. Welcome in. So that's the plan. 1 second. Good morning, Johnny. Yeah, so that's the plan this morning. We've got this balance range, pretty clear setup there. Again, it's kind of like just a rough estimate of what I'm calling like kind of the upper and lower portions of that balance range that I'm watching. Get rid of this now. Actually, it might be more clear if I draw this with some small rectangles. I'll call it to those lows, to those lows. So you can kind of see those general areas kind of being what I'm watching as kind of the upper and lower portions of this multi-day balance range area. Good morning, Johnny. So that's the game plan in a nutshell, guys. We'll watch it here after the 9:30 bell. If we spend too much time just kind of in the middle of this range, like I said, we don't have so much news drivers today. And if we spend a lot of time just kind of chopping around and volatility is low, especially in the first hour, then I may just call it and wait for better opportunities later this week. Good morning, Ishan. No worries. For anybody that joined in late, just kind of watching this balance range here between the highs and lows, and also specifically yesterday's highs and lows, and just watching to see if we either fake out and reverse back in there, or if we break out one side or the other. Pretty simple today. See on the 15-minute chart how wicky and nasty that day was yesterday. Morning, Stelios. Enjoy your holiday. So this is that range, and then kind of as far as yesterday's consolidation range there. So let me be clear, there's two things that I'm talking about. I'm talking about this consolidation range that we've kind of seen develop over the last several days. And then I'm also specifically talking about the consolidation range that formed yesterday. Kind of a consolidation range within the larger consolidation range. So we'll see how this develops here. Any questions on the game plan or anything going into today? I will go ahead and switch the screens over here in just a minute. Before the open, we'll switch it over to Bookmap. That's what I kind of like to talk through throughout the day. It's a good view of the order flow. Good morning. When I see you trade, you don't look at the candlestick charts, supply and demand, etc. You base your trades more on Bookmap confirmations. Correct. Yeah. I just look at candle charts for kind of like higher time frame market structure and kind of quickly viewing, obviously, where there's buyers and sellers forming supply and demand areas. But all of my actual trade execution comes from reading like the real-time order flow on Bookmap and footprint charts and the depth of market. To me, the candle charts are just a reflection of the order flow. It's just viewing where price was over a period of time, but it tells nothing about the volume or the strength of the move, which I can see from not from the candle charts, but from volume profile, the depth of market, volume by price, and viewing the real-time orders as they come in on Bookmap. Bookmap is like a direct stream of the tape. It is the tape, the real-time orders that are coming into the market. And it's I'm going to see things form and see how buyers and sellers are strong at areas much before or long before the pattern or the formation forms on a candle chart. That's just an after effect view. If you're looking at a very low time frame on a candle chart, you can kind of get a feel, like a 1 minute or a 30-second, you can kind of get a feel for kind of the speed and pace of the market, but still just not as clear as you can just looking at the tape itself. There we go. And this is what I'm talking about, being the depth of market, where I can see the volume profile by sellers and volume profile by buyers, aggressive buyers and sellers, and then kind of the resting orders, the bid and the ask, and the volume profile delta by price throughout the day, and the session volume profile. And so I can see where volume builds up and where it quickly moves, and that is able to tell me like where buyers and sellers are very strong or where price is very balanced, buyers and sellers are in agreement. And then I can see this as a real-time stream coming in with these bubbles of green and red, and the heat map showing me the resting orders. So I'm just looking at kind of the candle charts for that overall structure, where I can quickly and easily see like supply and demand areas. But then all of my actual trade execution is done via just the order flow. In fact, I could pretty much just trade just looking at the order flow and depth of market and not even looking at a candle chart at all. So very balanced here between inside of like 69 to 60-ish. Call it from 59 to 69. In between there, I really probably don't want to trade. You can see the volume profile on the 30-minute candle chart here, just how much volume has built up here. That's just, when you see a mountain like this that kind of dwindles on both sides, that's just a clear indication that buyers and sellers are pretty much in agreement on price. There's no real aggression from or imbalance one way or the other. We're just kind of consolidating and building volume here. You know, shares are kind of trading hands in this area, and there's not really any imbalance one way or the other. And I look to capitalize when there is an aggressive and volatile break, an imbalance in the market, where it is one side is off balance and price is quickly moving from one area to another area. And that's when I look to capitalize on the imbalance that occurs in the auction. $9.29, so about to open up here. Let's see how this develops this morning. It's going to be very telling here in this first hour if volatility is very low and we're just kind of messing around, or if we're going to see something different today than what we saw yesterday. So a lot of buying right off the bell here. We're right under that 69.70-ish key level. Saw a lot of large size orders around there yesterday. So we came up and tested just a couple points under that 70 level that I had mentioned, and we're rejecting pretty hard back towards the lows here. So we'll see how this sets up. Again, over the last few days, we're in a consolidation range, and that kind of peaked yesterday with a very tight range. So a lot of large selling coming in here. That was a pretty hefty drop there compared to what we've seen the last couple days. So safe to say, still sellers are still there at and just under that 69 and 70 level. I didn't see anything of good confirmation to enter a trade there. Just kind of instant heavy selling coming in. Buying is kind of small here. There is a bid here and here, followed it up. So we'll see. But right now, buying is kind of small and lackluster on this drop. A lot of selling coming in right here at these lows, 200 lots, 200 lots, 250 lots here around 56, 57, which we can see all right here. A lot of heavy selling coming in here. See it right here. So a lot of selling volume, aggressive selling volume continuing to come in right at the lows here. Yeah, this is just kind of heavy. It would take, I mean, if significant buying just came in out of nowhere, it could trap all this selling at the lows, but this is pretty heavy selling coming in here. And this little pop buying is pretty weak on that little pop here, and heavy selling continuing to come in at the lows here. We are at the low of the balance range though, so if significant buying absorption comes in, we could see another trap for sellers and rally back up. But right now, what I'm reading this as pretty heavy selling coming in right near the lows of the balance range. So important one way or the other to see if it's able to break down this level area, or if not, if buyers come in and trap these sellers at the low and start an equally aggressive rally back to the upside. Kind of now what we're starting to see. So all that heavy selling right at the lows was not able to break it down. Now we're seeing some aggressive buying coming in, trapping those sellers. See if we get a nice sharp little pullback here. I may be interested in taking that long as kind of a failed breakdown at the low of the balance range. If we get a little pullback into here, ideally just a quick low volume pullback. Ideally holds above 56 here. See if a bid comes in for that. And then target just the highs here above 68 into that 70 level. Was that all the pullback? Is that all they could muster? I was hoping for a little bit more of like a kind of a low volume dip into this area down here and see some bids appear defending that. I may be interested in taking that long and just targeting that 69 to 70 level. Up here, not so great, even though like I like it and I think buyers are looking to trap these sellers at the lows and go back to that 69.70 level. Risk versus reward up here, it'd be just like 8 points for my risk down here, 56, like 6 points of risk. So not really a setup. For me, a minimum setup is 2 to 1. Ideally, more like 3, 4, 5 plus R multiple risk versus reward. Yeah, I like this buying coming in. There wasn't enough selling to break down those lows. Now buyers came in and trapped them. But just for what I'd be targeting around 64.70, there's just not enough risk versus reward there for me to put on the trade. If I got it, if I was a little sharper down here at 57 with just like 2 points of risk there under 55, great. But at the time, this buying wasn't looking strong enough. I needed to confirm this. I'm not trying to just catch the absolute bottom when all this heavy selling is coming in at the lows. I need to see some strong buying come in and really confirm, okay, buyers are here. We're looking to trap these sellers, and then see that lower volume pullback. We just didn't really get it. And this was a little too speculative for me at the moment, even though risk was very low. But we squeezed up with that buying. And once that buying came in, we just never came back into this zone. I was looking for a drop here around 59 to 56. If we had a little quick drop into there, again, with small buying or small selling, kind of like we saw right here, then I would have looked to take that long. But unfortunately, did not get it. So nice little setup there right at the low of the balance range. Unfortunately, just didn't get an entry for it, and we're just shooting straight up. So we're coming back into that 69.70 level. So if we reject here, back down here, then I'm no longer interested in the setup, because the target has already hit. To me, like when I get in a trade, I have to have reason to believe that there's going to be more aggressive buying after my entry. So if we've already rallied up here, all this aggressive buying came in, that all these buyers have already shot their shot. You know what I mean? If we come all the way back down here and that buying doesn't hold, then it's no longer as great of a setup, because again, I'd be getting longs down here, and for me to be right, I would need to have other aggressive buyers come in after my entry to drive price up. And if all these buyers already came in and we drop all the way back down here to these lows, then there's just a lower chance, where there's less buyers that are going to be there to buy it again, if that makes sense. Potentially. I mean, it could still work, it could still happen, but it's just lower quality at that point, because we've already gone up here, tested those 69s and 70s. If we reject here, then, I don't like it as much. But there we go. That was the trade. That was the setup. It happened. I could have maybe got in right here at 60. But again, stop loss would have probably been like under 56 here. So 4 points of risk for just, maybe like 9 points. That would just barely be a nice little 2-to-1, but didn't take it. Nice. Maddie, you caught it long at 59. Yeah, that's a great entry down there. And I do that sometimes. Not sometimes, a lot of times. I do, like when I see this kind of absorption, given the context that it's right at the low of the balance range, I will get in down here, like at the 57s, 59s, speculating that we're going to trap these sellers before the aggressive buying comes in. In this scenario, I kind of wanted to see the aggressive buying come in and then see a little pullback. But that came at the cost, obviously, of kind of missing the trade now because of that. Now, hang on. We're seeing some selling come in here now off that 69.70 level again. So we kind of swept out those pre-market highs around 69, 68, 69, and now seeing some aggressive selling coming in. Still rejecting that 69.70-ish level. But we do still need to watch this area where this initiated, because buyers could defend that. I just don't like it as much. It's not as A+, but I will say, just looking at the selling as we drop down here, it's kind of small relative to the buying that we just saw. It's weaker and smaller than this selling was off the open, and it's weaker and smaller than all this aggressive buying just was. kind of a bigger bid down here at the 56s. It's a lot of positive delta building right here. I do kind of like how buyers are trying to defend this. Yeah, I do kind of like how buyers are trying to defend this. So taking a stab at this at the 60s with a stop right under 58, under that low that we just made in this box. I want to see buyers come in strong. If we hold a higher low here, we could definitely go retest that 70 level and possibly sweep out above that 70 level now. There's a large positive delta that came in there right around 60. So if that holds and we hold this, then we could go back up to that 70 level. There's a bid popping up here, but I want to see this hold a higher low right away. I don't want to see this come sweep out the lows. I want to see this form a higher low here. So I just let it come back to my entry one time. I'm going to be pretty tight now. If buyers don't step in strong and this drops back with heavy selling, I might cut this quickly. Yeah, that bid filled, but I need to see aggressive buying continuing to drive price up. Otherwise, like I said before, there's not enough buying after to continue to drive price up. This kind of got to go like right now. I got to kind of see bids already filled here. Need to kind of see aggressive buying come in like in a right now kind of way. Otherwise, I'm going to get out of this. Yeah, I'm probably going to go near break even with this, just under 60, because I want to see this like right now, aggressive buying come in. If we don't, then we could sweep back towards those lows. Especially this offer is hitting now. Yeah, stop is break even here at 59.75. I know I'm being really, really tight with this, but I already let it come back on my entry once. I kind of have a rule of thumb with a really tight entry like this. Either I'm right or I'm not, you know what I mean? Pretty soon after my entry. And so I give it kind of one time to come back on my entry and hold my stop. I'm going to scale out half here in just a second. All right. That was very tight risk. So I took half off there just to cover myself because I was in with full size 4 contracts for me. Normally I only do 2 on these live streams. So I'm going to take a 3R scalp there because my risk was 2 points. So I'm out for 6 points, half. So 3R exit on my first one. The reason being is we're right at VWAP here, and there's a 234 lot positive delta there. So if we continue to consolidate here and I'm wrong and we don't go break out these 69.70s, then I'm at least going to pad some profit now, because we could just continue to get lower highs and higher lows in this consolidation range. But I'll take half off for 3R there, 6 points on 2 points of risk. And then I'll see what happens if we can get above these 69.70s, then this could get exciting. This is also me. Keep in mind, I took 3 break-even trades yesterday for 5 points, 8 points, 11 points. So like 3 trades that came back on me break even yesterday. I'm being a little bit more quick and snappy to take some profit off, pad some profit here, and then I'm going to continue to hold my trade for my plan to see if we can go sweep over those 69.70s. But I'm just going to go ahead and pad some profit here, especially being up 3R on the scalp, because there's a chance, again, seeing this large positive delta there, there's now 330 lots right at my exit at 66, and then 218 positive lots above that at 66.25, which we can see right here, right at VWAP. So if this seller that was at the 69.70s is now defending lower, and we're kind of just narrowing into a pennant here, I caught it right at the lows. I scaled out here right before these highs, just in case we do kind of continue. Because basically what I'm watching out for is this. Let me draw it with a line here. If we don't break out and I'm not right on my full target, I'm watching out for this. See how we're kind of like higher lows, lower highs, just kind of consolidating here in this balance range. So I'll take the 3R as a partial, and I'll hold in case we want to get more exciting and go take up these 69.70s and above. If we get above those 69.70s, which was that resistance from yesterday, then we could see a nice pump back into 64.90, I think. 64.85, 64.90. And so the other reason of this is last night, just context wise, last night we already took out yesterday's lows, and we swept down there off the open this morning, and we held a higher low at 55s. So now we already took out yesterday's lows, and now we came down and retested, and sellers were unable to break it down, and we held a higher low. So that's why I'm kind of like, okay, let me hold this and speculate and see if now that we've taken out the lows, we've retested those lows and sellers failed to break it down, maybe we go break out the top of this balance range now. So I'll leave part of my trade on for that. But the risk is 0, just risking some unrealized gains. So it's either a small winning day or a big winning day, but either way, it's a winning day. Yeah, Blair, I wasn't as interested. I didn't say I wouldn't take it. I just said it wasn't as A plus. But what I saw when we got down here was, see how the size of the selling was just really small, and then I started to see some larger buying come in, and then right here with the smaller selling right here, this kind of just dwindling selling in here, I snagged it on one of these little pullbacks when the selling just kind of dwindled at 59.75. But I saw all this really large buying come in, surge here, and then it just kind of halted right here at VWAP. So if there's a seller selling VWAP, that could bring a low of day again. So that's why I took half the trade off for 3R. Again, it was a 2-point risk. So I'm cool with a 3R exit for my first half, and then we'll see what happens. I don't like this. This looks like a passive seller is still just laying into this, though. All this aggressive buying pop, and then it's just kind of dwindling here. And this is kind of why, I like to just scalp the fake out, the low and the high fake out in these conditions. And maybe I should have just taken the full trade off up there at the 66s. But just given the context that we've made 2 higher lows now after taking out yesterday's lows already overnight, that context is giving me some speculation here to say, let me hold half this trade to see if we go break out the high of this range now above those 69.70s, and maybe this could be a really big winner. But either way, the risk is zero because I'm not letting this trade go red. I've already taken half profit. So I've already taken the win. So it's just out of my control now. I'm just kind of using context to gauge how I'm doing my trade management on this trade. But I'm kind of considering taking another contract off if we can't break out of this 65, 66 level. Just buying is dwindling here. I wanted to see this kind of break out aggressively, and it's just kind of dwindling, but I'm just being patient. It's like I said, sometimes, you do your best based on confirmations, context. Yeah, Gio, I'm long ES. Based on context, confirmations, and everything, and based on my setups and data, I have a way of managing my trades depending on the conditions, depending on the scenario. This is one of them. And so I just can't really control the outcome from here. It just kind of is what it is. So do I have a small green day today? Do I have a big green day today? I don't know. I can't control that. It's just gonna, whatever is. It's just a probabilities. Maybe this time comes back, takes me out, break even. I have a small green day. Cool. Next time I manage a trade exactly the same way in the exact same scenario, and it's a huge winning trade, biggest trade of the month. You know what I mean? It's out of my control. But I will say I like this selling that just came in, that just got absorbed, and there's aggressive buying still coming in. So if we go pop these 69.70s into these offers up here, I'm going to scale out another contract. If we get a nice high of daybreak into these 69.70s, I'm going to scale out another contract here. Don't. Give me a nice sweep up here. scale out into? I don't like how this offer is reappearing right here. Need to break above that guy. All right. I'm out another one right there at 70, 60, yeah, 70. So I've just got one contract left. Let's see what happens. I'm going to trail my stop here. I don't want to see that fake out and drop. So I'm going to trail my stop here to like 67. And next target is up here at the 85s. I like all this buying. Look at that. Yes, sir. Don't like that offer reappearing right there. Look at that. All right, I'm all out right there. There's a lot of offers appearing. I'm all out there at 76. It's good enough for 2 points of risk. 76, and I was in from 59. So I can't do math right now, guys. I'm pretty tired. I've been up since around 4:30. I'm on my second coffee. Normally I wouldn't be tired, but the baby's been keeping us up a lot lately. So 17 points there on 2 points of risk. Yeah, 59, 75. So yeah, like 16 points. You guys know I have my P&L hidden. I don't even look at it throughout the trading day. I'm purely locked in on managing this trade. Purely locked in on just managing the trade. So I'll have to do the math. I'll upload the P&L and review it. And then I'll share trade recap on Instagram for you guys. If you guys aren't following me on Instagram, I recommend checking out the channel there. The reason for this scale out, I did have my other target set at 85s, but I'm looking at yesterday's highs right here around 75, 76. And I'm going to not lie to you guys. I still have it in the back of my head that I gave back like over $3,000 yesterday and had a 0 day. So I'm seeing these offers appearing right at yesterday's highs. And I have in my head, okay, yesterday, multiple times I thought we were going to blast out of this consolidation range. We didn't, and I took a 0. So today, now that I have, a sizable profit, and we're coming into that resistance prior day highs again, I'm thinking, you know what, let me not be greedy. Like, I wasn't greedy yesterday. I followed my plan and my target didn't hit, but my plan was a little bit aggressive for the conditions. And so today, as I'm seeing these offers appear right at yesterday's highs, I'm thinking maybe my plan is a little too aggressive. I was just trailing my stop up. But I trailed my stop at the 67s there after that high breakout. But seeing all that absorption right there at 76s, So what I was thinking is, okay, I trailed my stop. That's now 6 plus 3. That's now like 9 points. My trailed stop is now 9 points. Do I want to potentially give back 9 points or go all out at this potential resistance spot of prior day highs? Let me take the extra 9 points. Yesterday, I gave back 3 grand to 0. Let me take the win. Is it a huge win? No. Is it a great win? Yes. Risk versus reward, 2 points for a 16-point final target. I'm cool with that today. So I got in 4 contracts at 59. I got in 2 at 59.50. I added 2 at 60. So I'm in average at 59.75. I scaled out at 66. I scaled out again at 70, and I scaled out again at 76. So I'll have to pull it into TradeZella and view the overall, like after scaling, what my realized risk versus reward was, realized P&L and stuff like that. And I'll share that with you guys in a trade recap on Instagram. But great setup today, great game plan. Like I said, it was pretty clear. The context, I'll just quickly recap it for you. The context is what really gave me the conviction to execute this trade. And that's why order flow is not as powerful by itself without understanding the auction, understanding the context, and then putting it together. And the order flow gives you the confirmations and the very precise execution. But it's within the context that it makes it so powerful. So the context was, we're in a balance range. We swept out the low of the balance range overnight. So we already swept out the liquidity under yesterday's lows. We dropped down there again aggressively, and we saw all of this. Remember on the stream, I said this is a lot of aggressive selling coming in right at the lows here. Well, all of that aggressive selling failed to break down those lows, and we trapped them aggressively. Now I said, I'm not as keen to take that trade again if we come back down here, but I am still watching it. That's why I put this box back up here. And what I saw was when we came back down into here, look at the relative size. So we dropped once, right? Aggressively. All this selling failed. We bounced with even stronger buying, right? Look at the size of this buying. And then we pulled back. And on this pullback, look how much smaller the selling is than this selling off the open. So my thought process was, okay, if this large selling couldn't break down the lows and we held a higher low, and now we're seeing weaker selling on this pullback into this key area where we saw this aggressive buying, what are the chances that this selling, which is now weaker than this selling was, is going to break down the lows? To me, not so good. Not so good look for sellers. So my thought process was, okay, now I'm seeing this selling, see how it dropped, and then see how it just kind of went sideways here. So now I'm speculating, okay, these sellers are effed. We're going to make another higher low here off this low, higher low. Let me grab an entry here and speculate, like right here at 59.50s. Let me speculate that we already put in this low here, and we're going to hold a higher low now. So let me put my stop loss right under 58s, right under this low that formed here. So it was not even a full 2-point stop loss. My average entry was 59.75. So it was a 1.75 point stop loss. To me, is it as A+ as it was over here? No, but the risk is so small and the reward is so high. If I'm right, it's worth the trade. Make sense? Been talking my head off now. I need some water. As a general rule, Clayton asked, what's my rule for moving my stop loss to break even. As a general rule of thumb, once I see good confirmations, strong buying in my direction that shifts price action in my direction, I'm generally looking in around like 5+ points just for the setups that I trade. Then I look to move my stop loss break even. And when it's going sideways around my entry, so I got in here and I was speculating when I got in this trade that aggressive buying was going to come in right after. I let it come. I think I got in right here. I let it come back on my entry one more time, and I held my original stop loss down here under 58. But after I let it come back one time, I think I said, as soon as we popped up here, I started seeing this aggressive buying coming in. I said, okay, either I'm right or I'm not. Either this is the higher low and aggressive buying is going to come in now, or it's not. And so that's when I said, okay, I'm moving my stop loss break even. It's like now or never, you know what I mean? Because we're already getting the buying coming in. We've already put in a low with this weaker selling. I let it come back to my entry one time. That's kind of my general rule of thumb on a scalp like this. I'll let it come back. Like when it's kind of still consolidating before the move happens, I'll let it come back on my entry one time based on how I execute and how I confirm trades. The way I confirm trades and execute, I'm pretty much right away or I'm not. And so I saw this aggressive buying come in. And as soon as this aggressive buying came in, it's like, okay, I'm either right now or I'm not right. So let me move my stop loss to break even. And the thing about that is if all this selling failed and we swept back down here again and it swept me out break even, cool. I can look to re-enter the trade again. There's nothing stopping me from getting right back in the trade if I see bids and large absorption here, and I'll get a better price. But you have to be very, very sharp and with your execution and experience to do that. For most beginners and newer traders, I just say set your stop loss, set your target where it makes sense, and don't try to over manage the trade. Even I sometimes over manage the trades, but I have a lot of experience reading the order flow, a lot of experience, and know how my setups play out. And I know how I look at price action and order flow to confirm my trades. So I just know from experience and feeling like what it looks like when I'm right on a trade. And what it looks like when I'm right on the trade is I get good confirmations. It doesn't hang out around my entry too much, and strong buying or selling comes in my direction pretty quickly. Just how I looked, because I already let this come in and kind of form this lower low. And then I started to see the aggressive buying come in down here. And so once this aggressive buying starts coming in and I'm already in down here, there's really no reason for me to continue to hold a stop loss under this low because we already formed the low and aggressive buying's coming in. So either it's going to go or it's not. So I'm already in it. So, you know what I mean? If that makes sense. Because everyone else is now seeing this aggressive buying on the candle chart, and now everyone else is buying after me. So everyone that's watching a candle chart is buying up here, 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 here after me because they're like, oh, now it's moving green. You know what I mean? That's great that you see that on the charts, on the candle charts. I'm already in down here because I saw it down here. You know what I mean? But I need those people to come in and buy after me so I can sell to them. So nice exit there, honestly, so far. It may continue higher, but you know, I'm cool with my exit. I'm cool with how I manage the trade. I'm not going to be overly greedy to squeeze every tick out of the day, especially given the conditions and a consolidation range and the context of yesterday. I could have easily, after having a day like I had yesterday where I had so much profit come back on me break even, and I'm sure that happened to a lot of people yesterday. Just look at the chart, the wicks up and down. It's all good. A mistake would have been today coming in with either the mindset of like, F yesterday, I want a massive winner, size up, hold a big trade, kind of like revenge for what happened yesterday. Or kind of learn from it and be like, okay, these are the conditions. This is what happened yesterday. If I see signs that that's going to continue happening, let me kind of adjust how I'm managing my trade right now until something different happens. So the first scale out was around 3R66. The second scale out was 70 from 59. So the second scale out was around 5R. And the third and final scale out 76s from 16, 8. What is that, 8R? So I scaled out for approximately 3R, 5R, 8R on the trade. All right, guys, I'm going to film a recap and post it for you guys. And then I've got some other videos and things that I'm working on that I'm going to be working on the rest of the day for you guys. That'll be coming out in the future. But in the meantime, thank you guys for all joining in. Drop a like on the video and share if this helps you. I appreciate that a ton. That helps me out. That's all I ask. Again, I'm trading anyway. I'm sharing my time with you guys to help you learn a bit and hopefully you find value in this. Drop a like if you do. That lets me know to keep doing things like this. That's how I gauge if people are actually getting value out of it or if I'm just talking to myself. Thanks, Andrew, Ray, Clayton, Stelios. Thanks for joining in on holiday, Stelios. Cullen Rock, thanks for joining in. Little Potato, appreciate all you guys. Gagan Deep, thanks. Cullen Rock, Ben, Alvaro, Chi, Maddie, thank you guys for joining in. Appreciate you. Again, keep an eye on Instagram. I'll post a recap of the trade so you guys can see it on there. And for everyone else that didn't see it live with you guys, Odyssey, Anthony, thank you guys for joining in. I will see you guys later this week. Probably, maybe we'll do another one later this week. We do have that Jackson Hole event coming up Friday. So things to watch out for. Thanks, guys. And I will see you in the next one. Again, I'm always pretty much available on Instagram, so DM me questions and things like that on there. That's the best way to stay up to date with me as far as when the streams are happening and just trade recaps and stuff in general. That's where you'll get the most real-time information. Diego, thanks for joining in. Alvaro, thank you. First time jumping in the stream, learned a ton. Adult Broker 1, thanks, man. Thanks for joining in. Hopefully follow on here, turn on the notifications. I try to do them always once a week at least, like either Monday or Tuesday to start the week. And then some weeks I do them every day. And but usually at least once or twice a week I do the live trading streams, and then I share a lot of recaps and stuff like that. So appreciate you joining in, man. All right, I'll see you guys later. Peace.